Hi, everybody. Okay, so really quick, I want to go over the elements of nonfiction with you. So bear with me, and I'm going to share my screen. I'm sure that my son is right behind me. There he is. Okay, so this is because you are going to be reading some nonfiction pieces. In particular, you're going to read Douglas's speech, "What's the Slave is the 4th of July?" And you're going to need to apply these elements of nonfiction to that speech when you go to write your next essay, okay? So the elements are, there's really just 5 of them. The first thing that you're going to need is that it's a major idea. It has to be a major idea. You'll clearly know what the major idea is in Douglas's speech. It has 3 purposes. All right. So you're informing, you're entertaining, convincing, or persuading. Okay. Those are the purposes that are possible when you have these nonfiction pieces. Okay. Most of the time, they're really just informative. Sorry, there's some background noise, but he's watching YouTube. So
yeah, you better do it. Oh, you do.
All right. Okay, so it aims to achieve all of these things. Not, however, not all nonfiction pieces are entertaining, or they're entertaining in non-conventional ways. It is then, this major idea is then expanded upon and discussed and given more information, supported with details as the piece goes on, okay? So then you have reader's aids or visuals, tables, graphs, illustrations, photographs, a word glossary. Obviously, there's not one with Douglas's speech, but you have to remember it's a speech, so he himself is his visual aid as he is talking to all the women really at this lunch. And he is, he's his own visual aid with that. They also didn't have things, that we have now. So we just have to keep that in mind. But he does a very good job of painting pictures and using descriptive language and creating that, the scenery for you to see. No, in his speech. What I'm talking about, I'm not talking to you. I love him so much, but dear God. Okay, anyway, so these aids are just aiding the reader in their understanding and paying attention, in seeing and visualizing and truly, developing their understanding of these ideas to that major idea, okay? The next thing is going to be cause, effect, and comparisons for supporting details. Nonfiction needs to explain where all this information is coming from. It has to come from somewhere. Otherwise, it would be fiction if it was made up. Okay, so this is where that cause and effect comes in. It's going to be accompanied by these comparisons to the major idea. The link between this is going to be used in 2 different ways, where the major idea acts as the cause and the details as the effect, or the other way around. We want to show how whatever this piece is working in the real world, okay? And obviously Douglas is going to do that in his speech to show us everything that was happening in his world, in his reality. So how it should be used, how it shouldn't be used. Okay, then the next thing we have is elements borrowed from fiction, that it's a narrative and it creates a sense of reliability. Now, Douglas went on to write his own narrative piece. It's called The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American Slave, written by himself. Okay, it's very long. But in the very beginning, he had to have 2 white men write that Douglas wrote this himself and that all of the events that happened are actually true. Why? Because he was a Black author when the Emancipation Proclamation had just happened. So he had to still have some backing, unfortunately. But anyway, he then doing that, having these 2 white men write these letters to claim authenticity for him, for his book, creates that sense of reliability for many people. Now, obviously, in today's world, we know that this is all real anyway. So we wouldn't necessarily need those letters, but it did help to create that sense of authenticity and make Douglas a reliable author. Okay, he is presenting this information, and when he gives this speech at the ladies' luncheon in Rochester, New York, he says, "I was a slave. I am writing this from my own experience." So that right there is the reliability. Okay, as it's presented, it's now providing a source of entertainment, and that in its own way provides that persuasive sense of credibility or reliability. Okay, so that's how all three purposes are being combined there. It's also going to be nothing but fact. We're not borrowing information. We're not making up information. They, you, the readers, are reading this piece of nonfiction to learn something specific. Okay, so if you're reading a science textbook about, I don't know, osmosis, you're literally only reading to learn about osmosis. You're not reading the chapter on osmosis to learn about photosynthesis. Okay, so you're reading to learn about that very specific topic. Okay, so it's not borrowing information from other places. It is drawing strictly from experience in this particular piece that we're going to be reading, just to learn about whatever that topic might be. Obviously, you're going to read other nonfiction pieces. Anyway, that's really the elements of nonfiction in a nutshell. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you enjoy the speech. Let me know if you can find an audio of it because I have not been successful in that. So let me know. Bye, guys.